Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Jodo Jake. Welcome back to the channel. So I have a fun video for today. Have you ever wondered how many Kanto Pokemon we have as illustration rares in the Scarlet and Violet era? Well, in this video, we're gonna find out. When Scarlet and Violet introduced illustration rares, I was on board from SV base. I loved the Drowsy from Kamiya. I loved the Slowpoke. I loved the Ralts line. I genuinely loved Scarlet and Violet base and what it brought to the TCG. I had already been a fan of the Trainer Gallery from Sword and Shield and the Galar Gallery in Crown Zenith. And this was like an evolution of that, and I got really excited. I decided I wanted to collect them all in a binder, and if you haven't seen it from a few months ago, I made a video of that binder and I'll make sure to link it at the end of this video. I recommend checking it out. I decided I also wanted to do all of the Kanto illustration rares in PSA 10. I set this goal not knowing how many we're going to end up with by the end of the era, and there's quite a few, so we're going to jump right into it. We're going to go through each and every Kanto Pokemon, and we're going to show all of the different illustration rares they might have for that species. As you can see, I have all 151 Pokemon here, and I'll give you an idea of like how this is laid out. So they're in Pokedex order, and this isn't actually all of them. We have additional illustration rares that are hidden behind some of these Pokemon. So I have a color code list that I will show you here. So as you can see, we have SIRs that have this white color. We have not available, which is like this translucent like gray. We have Paradox Pokemon, which is blue. We have Regional, which is this green. Convergent, you can think of Convergent like, let's say we have Diglett and Wiglet. And then upcoming is like, we have it in Japanese, but we don't have it in English. And for those that don't know, Regional is obviously like the Alolan Exeggutor or something like that. And then we have Paradox, obviously, like Jigglypuff, Screamtail, those types of Pokemon. So let's start with Bulbasaur. So Bulbasaur, this was a 151 illustration rare. And we also received the Stellar Crown, which is this Bulbasaur here. Both beautiful illustrations. Love both of these. I have this one in the binder, and then actually by the end of this video I'll also show you all of my PSA 10s. So we're gonna go through each and every Pokemon, and then I'll showcase all of the illustration rares I have in PSA 10. So all right, next up we have Ivysaur. This is the only Ivysaur illustration rare at this time. And then here we have Venusaur, right? So Venusaur, we don't have an illustration rare, but we do have a special illustration rare that was in 151. And then Charmander has a few. So we have the Pokemon Center one, and sometimes I have doubles of the same, but this is just to represent both the non-stamped and the stamped. So we have the non-stamped and stamped Charmander from Obsidian Flames. And then we also have the 151, which is, you know, a beautiful, beautiful card. And then next up we have Charmeleon. Now Charmeleon this is the only this is the only illustration rare we have from Scarlet and Violet. Another great card. And then Charizard, we have a few. So Charizard is just special illustration rare, so there's no actual illustration rares, but we have the Charizard EX from Paldean Fates. We have the 151, and we have the Obsidian Flames. So there's 3 different Charizards already. And I'm not surprised. We had so many Charizards in the Sword and Shield era of Altarts. It's kind of crazy. I think there was like 4, maybe 5, if I remember correctly. And then Squirtle, we also have the 151, but we also have that Stellar Crown one with the Pidgeys, which is such a fun art. Next up, we have Wartortle. Now this is the only illustration rare of Wartortle. Great card. And then we have, you know, Big Man here, and Big Man only has one Altar SIR, if you will, so not an illustration rare, but a special illustration rare. And then Caterpie, this is another great card. I really love this one, just kind of peeking through. And then we don't have an illustration rare for Metapod. We don't have an illustration rare for Butterfree, Weedle, Kakuna. Beedrill doesn't have an SIR, an illustration rare, but it does have an Altar from Sword and Shield and Astral Radiance. And then here we have Pidgey. That's an illustration rare in Obsidian Flames, as well as Pidgeotto. And now Pidgeot doesn't have a illustration rare, but it does have a special illustration rare from the same set. I have 3 of these in PSA 10. Super undervalued, underappreciated card. This whole trio is just so good to look at. It's a hate it or love it kind of art style, I would say, but definitely a fan. Next up, we have Rattata, we have Raticate, Spearow and Fearow, Ekans. None of those have illustration rares. Then we get to Arbok. Now, Arbok does have an illustration rare, and this is from Temporal Forces. I love this art. You can actually flip it upside down, which is also super cool. Yeah. And then we have the Pikachu here. Now, Pikachu has a few. So we have the Paldea Evolved promos, both the Pokemon Center and the non-Pokemon Center one. And then we also have this collector's chest Pikachu, which I think is a great art. I wish it had different Pokemon in the background. I'm not necessarily nostalgic for any of these or really a fan of any of those Pokemon behind it. And then we also have the 151. This is just such a cool card. I'm pretty sure this illustration has the most Kanto Pokemon in one card. It took me a long time to realize that there's actually a Blastoise back there, as well as this Gengar popping through. That gives it a few more points in my book. Great card. And then next up we have Raichu, which is an illustration rare from Paldea Evolved. And then we have Sandshrew and Sandslash that don't have an illustration rare. And then if we go to the next row, Nidoran, Nidorina, Nidoqueen, Nidoran, Nidorino, none of those have illustration rares, but we do have one of Nidoking. This card, so good, so good. Clefairy, Clefable, Vulpix don't have an illustration rare, but we got that Ninetales illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. Beautiful card. And then here you'll see that there's this blue, and this is to represent that Paradox. So we don't have a Jigglypuff, but we do have Screamtail, which is a Paradox ancient form of Jigglypuff. And then we have Wigglytuff, Zubat, Golbat, Oddish, no illustration rares there. And then we have Gloom. Gloom is from Obsidian Flames, beautiful art, love this. Sent this one out to grade. Unfortunately, this is one of the few illustration rares that I came back a 9. Ended up cracking it and putting it right back into the binder. Vileplume, Paris, Parasect, Venonat, Venomoth, none of those have illustration rares. And then we have this Convergent Diglett, which is the Wiglet. This was introduced in Scarlet and Violet. Fun card. I honestly never realized that there was a Psyduck in this card, or a Slowpoke. Wow, that's crazy. That's what I love about these cards, right? You can like look at them so many times and not actually really pay attention to what's going on, and that's definitely one of them. I love it. And then we have here, which is the region-based Dugtrio, the Surfer Dugtrio, Lowland Dugtrio, cool card. And then we have no illustration rare from Meowth, but we have this all of a sudden very popular Persian from Shrouded Fable. I graded this recently in a PSA 10. That is a great card to own right now. Almost makes me want to sell it with how ridiculous the market is treating that card. Next up, we have Psyduck from 151. Another great card. It reminds me of that Netflix mini series that we had not too long ago, which I believe is getting a second season. If you haven't seen it, I can't remember the name of it. I would check it out on Netflix. I think it's called Pokemon Resort, if I remember correctly. Next up, we have Golduck and Mankey. Both of those do not have illustration rares. And then we're going on to that next row here. We have Primate, no illustration rare. And then we have this region-based Hisuian Growlithe. Great card. I know this is paired with the Persian, if I remember correctly, the special illustration rare. We've got no special illustration rare or illustration rare of Arcanine yet. I'm really hoping to see an Arcanine special illustration rare EX. We did see an Arcanine EX introduced in Scarlet and Violet base, so I do have hope for that Pokemon getting a special illustration rare. Poliwag, we don't have an illustration of. Poliwhirl, we do. Now, this is one of the best from 151. I love the way this artist just like represented the reflection of rain. It's really honestly a great card. It reminds me of San Francisco for some reason on a rainy day at night, or rainy night. But yeah, very cool card. Next up, we have Poliwrath. No illustration rare, special illustration rare, no Abra, no Kadabra. We do have Alakazam in 151. You can see here. I have 6 of these in a PSA 10 right now, in English, 2 in Japanese PSA 10s. I personally believe that this card is undervalued in comparison to where the other cards from 151 are. That's just my take. Sure, I have a position in it, I could say, but that's why I graded so many of these at the time that I did. That this card was a $20 card when I bought it. Yeah. Machop, no illustration rare. Machoke we do. I love this like different levels, like composition is really cool. All these different Machokes helping, you know, move in or move out. Can't really tell. Never noticed that there was Pidgeys. I mean, this card could be part of that Pidgey trio with the starters from Stellar and the Obsidian promo. But yeah, cool. There's a Meowth too. Wow, love that. Machamp, we don't have a SIR or illustration rare, but we do have an alt art in Astral Radiance as well. Machamp's probably like the top chase card from Astral. Bellsprout, wow, Weeping Bell and Victory Bell. I almost blanked on Weeping Bell. Wow, those Pokemon need some love, man, for real. And then we have Toedscool and Toedscruel, which are convergent Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet of, you know, Tentacool. And then we have no illustration rares for this evolution line, which is crazy, and no special illustration rares. We did get a Golem EX on 151. That would be cool if we see a special illustration rare treatment for Golem and give, you know, Geodude and Graveler some love too. Ponyta, no illustration rare. We did just get an illustration, an illustration rare that's coming out in Heatwave Arena. I'll pop that in on screen once I go and edit. But that card looks really beautiful. It actually reminds me a lot of a local artist here in the Bay Area, Johnny Skywalker. I'll put his Instagram up in this video. His art style reminded me a lot of this illustration rare that we're getting, I assume, in either Journey Together or Rival, what is it? Destined Rivals, one of those two. Shout out to Johnny. He's always in the comments. I appreciate you, man. And then next up, we have Slowpoke, which was the one I was discussing earlier from Scarlet and Violet base. This card has gone crazy too. Fun art, love it. Slowbro, another Pokemon we haven't seen an illustration rare of, and Magnemite, but we did get the Magneton Shinji Kanda promo from Surging Sparks, and that also has the non-stamped version. And then next we have Farfetch'd, no illustration rare, special illustration rare. We have Doduo, and then if we go all the way back to that next row, Dugtrio, yeah, right? I hope so. I can't. Wow, am I blanking on that? I'm terrible. Seal, no illustration rare. Dugong, no illustration rare. Grimer and Muck, no love yet. Shelder and Cloyster, no love yet. But Ghastly, we definitely got love, and you kind of say we got an SIR or illustration rare of all three, but technically it is a Ghastly illustration rare. So no Haunter or Gengar SIR yet in Scarlet and Violet base, but fingers crossed we do. Next up, Onyx, no IR special illustration rare. We did get an illustration rare of Steelix in Paradox Rift, which is a great card. I actually graded that recently in a 10. And then Drowsy, this card, still don't have this in a PSA 10. I have it in the binder. I didn't send it because it does have like a micro dot on one of the corners, but sooner or later that will be added to the collection. Next up, we have Drowsy, Hypno, Krabby, Kingler, Voltorb, Electro. None of them have IRs or special illustration rares. Exeggcute, one of my favorites. This is in Surging Sparks. Graded this recently in a PSA 10. Exeggutor, Kanto region base does not have an IR SIR, but it does have the Lowland regional based Exeggutor, which I actually I bought from Hussein in our recent submission because I added the Exeggcute in between his Exeggutors and this 110. So we made a deal that if I got this in a 10 that he would sell it to me. So yeah, cool to have both of those sequential. Then we have Cubone, Marowak, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan. No love in illustration rares or special illustration rares yet, and that's crazy to me. Lickitung got some love in Temporal Forces, sneaking a lick of a snow cone. We have Coughing and Wheezing and a Rhyhorn and a Rhydon. None of them got any love yet in Scarlet and Violet as far as illustration rares or special illustration rares. Next up, we have Chansey. This card is in Twilight Masquerade. This card's gotten a lot of love recently. I have this one, I believe, in a PSA 10. We have the Tangela. This is a cool card from 151. Very chill. This art style kind of reminds me of like some like Nickelodeon cartoon for some reason. I don't know. That's just random thought that came to mind. Yeah, Kangaskhan, no special illustration rare. It did get an EX in 151. Maybe we'll get some love for Kangaskhan soon. Horsey, one of my favorites. This is Shrouded Fable. Shrouded Fable, yes. I love this. I have this, I believe, in a PSA 10. Seadra, no love as far as special illustration rares or illustration rares, but we did get the Kingdra promo, the Shrouded Fable promo, which is just a beautiful special illustration rare. And then we have no love for Goldeen or Sea King yet. Staryu or Starmie. Starmie had the trainer gallery with Misty in Astral Radiance trainer gallery. Beautiful cards, probably the #1 trainer gallery card if I remember correctly, as far as like where the market is on it. Definitely one of the best. I love that card. I have that in a PSA 10 and in the binder. Next up, we have Mr. Mime playing chess in the park. Great card. One from 151. Scyther, no special illustration rare or illustration rare yet. We absolutely need a art rare or SAR soon. I mean, this card is definitely, or this Pokemon is definitely needed. I'm sure Pikachu would love that too. Jinx has a trainer gallery card. I can't remember if it's from Silver Tempest or I think it's from Silver Tempest, but no illustration or special illustration rare in the Scarlet and Violet era. Electabuzz, no love yet. No love for Magmar illustration or special illustration. Pinsir, Twilight Masquerade, great illustration rare. And then we have this region-based Paldea Tauros. That is in Paldea Evolved. And then the big behemoth from Paldea Evolved, the Magikarp with the Gyarados in the background. Still don't have this in the binder or in a PSA 10. It's getting up there, but I'm patient on cards like this. I will sooner or later grade it or trade for it, or maybe buy it down the road. I don't know. Just can't justify spending that kind of money on a card that's only like 2 years old, almost 2 years old. Gyarados, no SIR illustration rare yet, but my gut tells me we're going to see a Misty's Gyarados SIR soon with these new gym or partner Pokemon. Lapras could also use some love. No illustration rare, special illustration rare. Ditto, same. I mean, that would be cool to see what they do with Ditto. And now Eevee. Now Eevee has a few. This is the illustration rare from Twilight Masquerade, but we also have the promos from Prismatic Evolutions. This is the only illustration rare from Prismatic Evolutions, and it happens just to be the promo. So we have the one with and without the stamp. Now, Vaporeon, Jolteon, and Flareon, they do not have illustration rares, but they do have trainer galleries from Brilliant Stars. I believe they're partnered with Blue. And then we do have SIR Terra type of all three of these in Prismatic Evolutions. So these are the Vaporeon EX, Jolteon EX, and Flareon EX Prismatic SIRs. And then next, no love for Porygon yet. I think Porygon Z or Porygon 2 is a illustration rare in like Paradox or Temporal, if I remember correctly. I'll put that on screen. And then Omanyte from 151 with the Kabutos in the background and the Omnistar in the background. Great card. I have that in a PSA 10 if I remember correctly. And yeah, we have no illustration rare, special illustration rare for Omnistar or Kabuto. And if we go to the last line here, we have Kabutops. Kabutops has no special illustration or illustration rare. And then we have Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl had an alt art in Lost Origin, one of my favorites. That Jurassic Park vibes, just stellar card. Actually graded that from an AGS 9.5 and cross graded it to PSA, and I got the PSA 10. Collect the card, not the grade, y'all. And so Snorlax has the stamped promo and non-stamped promo from 151. A lot of love to Pidgey in Scarlet and Violet in these backgrounds. Like, it's just like, I don't know, it's always got a cameo appearance in these illustration rares. And then we don't have this in English yet, but this is the Articuno from Battle Partners, if I remember correctly, which we will get in most likely Journey Together in English. And then Zapdos does not have an illustration rare or special illustration rare, but it does have, oh wait, yeah, it does have a special illustration rare. I was about to say alt art from Sword and Shield, but yes, 151 with all three. Reminds me of the Pokemon 2000 movie where they're fighting Lugia. Yeah, that would have been cool if Lugia or Ho-Oh were in this too. I think someone did a fan art with Ho-Oh or Lugia in the background. Moltres, no love yet. They always do that. They always show love to like 2 of the birds, but not all 3. Especially when they do like a set, you'll get like Articuno and Zapdos or Articuno and Moltres, but you won't get all 3. It's kind of frustrating. Just give us all 3. That's what we want. And then Dratini did not get an IR SIR, but Dragonair did. I love that they chose Dragonair for 151. It is a very majestic Pokemon. I'm a fan of this whole evolution line. Dragonite's an OG. I do wish that Dragonite was this color. Like, I've seen like fan art of like basically people taking the color palette of Dragonair and putting it on Dragonite, and it looks awesome. And then we have Mewtwo. For some reason I put the Japanese one up, but we have this in English 151 as the promo in the UPC. Mewtwo. And then our last but not least, we do not have an illustration rare of Mew, but we do have the Shiny Mew and Paldean Fates and the Mew EX from 151 in the UPC as a promo. I had like, I don't know, 30 of these. I think I sold off about 20 of them recently because they had jumped up. I had bought these at like $2 to $3 a piece, and I was selling them for $40, $45 a piece. Kind of crazy. Now, so you're probably wondering how many that is. Now let's get to it. So there's a total of 55. Now this total includes all of the different types. So you have like the original Kanto, you have the region based, you have the convergent based, you have all the extra cards. So if like Squirtle has one from 151 and it has one from Stellar Crown, those are included. Now then we go to the next, this is unique. So this is unique to per Pokemon, and this is also including like the regional base and the convergent, like the new version of that Pokemon, like Diglett, Wiglet. There's 43. And then Kanto region form, like the actual original form of that Pokemon, we have 36, and that is 24% of the 151 Pokedex. So we still got a lot of potential illustration rares to come. I don't think that Scarlet and Violet is going to have one for every Kanto Pokemon. I would love for that to happen, but I just don't think that's realistic. But we'll see. Who knows? I mean, this era has taken off. There's been a lot added to it. I think I actually love it more than Sword and Shield, although like Sword and Shield is at this point nostalgic. Like, I'm a big fan. Obviously, I collected all of the alt arts, but I love what Scarlet and Violet has done over the past couple of years, and I'm excited to see what these last few sets are going to look like for the era. Yeah, so that concludes it. This is all of them here. Let's take a quick look again. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of empty slots. I did my best to add them all. If I by chance like missed any of them, please let me know in the comments. But I'm pretty certain I got them all as far as like where we're at with English. I should probably have taken another look at Battle Partners to make sure that there isn't any additional Kanto Pokemon. Something tells me there might be, but yeah, let me know in the comments. I'm going to go grab my illustration rares that I have in PSA 10, and we'll jump into that now. We'll start off with the Omanyte PSA 10. Let me know in the comments what color graded guard you think I should put on this. Kind of had a hard time figuring out. I was thinking maybe glow, because glow in the dark and in the daylight looks similar. Next up, we have Poliwrath 151 PSA 10. That just got back from grading. Next up, we have Nidoking. This is a cool one. Picked this up months ago for like 50 bucks, if I remember correctly. Pikachu 151 PSA 10. We got Caterpie PSA 10. Mewtwo. Ninetales. I love this graded guard. This is the Amber Jewel. Looks so good on this card. Literally perfect. Next up we have Raichu. This is not a graded guard. This is Jelly Armor from my friend Taylor. Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Jelly Armor. Next up we have Chansey. This is a fun one. We have Eevee in the clear. You could also put pink on this and it would look nice. Next up, Horsey. Looks really good with the blue guard. One of my favorites with this red jewel. Persian, PSA 10. Next up, we got Exeggcute. Looks perfect with the pink guard. That just came back from our recent submission. Pinsir, I got this for like 35 bucks. I mean, just buy it at that point. We have the Hisuian Growlithe and the orange guard. We have Arbok, the green jewel. And I want to put this in the purple jewel. Right now it's just the purple graded guard, but this was another favorite. I think I got this when it was like 120. And then in here, my graded guard case, I have all of my 151 stuff. So, well, the starters, I should say. So I'm actually missing Ivysaur from the Bulbasaur line. So I have Bulbasaur and Venusaur here. This is the Melon graded guard. Next up, Charmeleon. Wait, this isn't in order. Got Charmeleon, Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard. Probably do it this way. Very cool. I wish I had sunsets for all three of these. I'd put sunsets on all three. And then my favorite, obviously, we have Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise with the Abyss Jewel, or Abyss graded guard, the limited one. And then Alakazam. I have 5 of these in another box. Zapdos. And then here's the new Rose Valentine's graded guard for the Mew promo. Alright y'all, so that wraps up the video for today. That's every single Kanto Illustration Rare that we have so far for the Scarlet and Violet era. Now there's quite a few Pokemon in Kanto that still haven't been given this treatment. Let me know in the comments which of these Pokemon you'd like to see given an Illustration Rare before the end of this era. Now if you'd like to see more Illustration Rares, please make sure to go watch the video at the end of this video where I showcase my entire Illustration Rare binder. If you'd like for me to do Johto region, which I'm actually also working on in PSA 10, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do so. Until next time, y'all, happy collecting. Peace. Oh, and one more thing. If you happen to be in LA this weekend, I will be at Los Angeles' Collecticon, and I'm really looking forward to meeting some new people, seeing some familiar faces, and just, you know, having a full weekend of just Pokemon. So if you happen to be there, please come say hi. I'd love to chat Pokemon with you. See you then if you're there. Peace.